Hi everyone, my name's Alison. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Welcome to part 3 of 4 videos where we've been making a selection of greeting cards, which have been happy birthday cards and thank you cards using the Prized Peony or the Peony Suite. And then the 4th video I'll be showing you how to make a nice box to keep them in, which you can then give the whole box with the 12 cards as a gift, or you can just keep them yourself. So for today's card I'm going to be showing you how to make this one. This is using the peony dies, which if you haven't used yet, they are really good actually, because you can just line up the dies, but I'll show you that as we go. And then if you watch until the end, I'll also be showing you the last 6 cards, because this will be so this is card 5. I'm going to be showing you how to make card 6, and then the remaining 6 cards are pretty straightforward, so I shall just show you those so that you can copy the design if you want to, but it's just using mats and layers, so I'll show you that at the end. And then, as I say, video 4 will be where I show you the box to keep them in. So this one I've used just Whisper White, and then I actually had a piece of Whisper White where I'd already embossed it with the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. I'm not sure if you can, yeah, you can just slightly make that out. So that actually, because that was a spare that I had, I thought, oh, I should just use that up. And then with the doily, what are they called? Here we are, the square vellum doilies. I actually coloured in with a Petal Pink stamping blend, which just made it slightly, it's changed the colour slightly, but then I also went over it with the Wink of Stella pen as well. And then we just stamped these images on here, which is what we're going to do with the next card. Okay, so let's look at what we're going to need for our card today. So, as with the previous ones, which actually I will put a link up on the top right, which will link you to the second video, and then on that video there'll be a link linking you to the first video. So yeah, if you click the bell icon, if you've not already subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe and then click the bell icon, and you'll also be notified when I next upload a video. So with the other cards, all of the card bases have been done in basic grey, and it's just the 8 1/4 by 5 3/4 scored at 4 1/8. We're then going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is for this section here, and that is 5 5/8 by 4 inches. And then you just want a piece of scrap for our sentiment, and then a piece of scrap, which you can see I've already die cut. This is just for our centre of the flower there, which I think I'm going to use the same colour, so that's just basic grey. So first of all then we'll make our peony, and for this card I'm going to use the this design here from the Peony Garden DSP. I think that's actually quite nice, and because we've been following a theme where we've been basically sort of like a grey on one card and more of the petal pink on the second card, that's why I thought I'd do the peony and the petal pink. I'll show you the other cards at the end of this video. So we're going to be using the peony dies. You actually get loads of dies in this set, and the dies we'll be using for the peony, there's 5 in total, are these ones here. Okay, and this one is for the centre. So we'll use our big shot for die cutting out. This has actually got a nice design on the back as well, but yeah, for this time we're going to use the petal pink side, so we'll just line up our dies. Okay, and I'll just run that through. That's all got through there nicely. And we just want our scrap just for our centre. Oops. There we go, that's just our little centre there. Pop that there. Okay, so that's our pieces die cut out. And then what we're going to do is just give the edges just a bit of a colour with some petal pink. Don't need to do too much, it just gives it a slight tinge to it, so it just stops it being too plain. And you can, if you want to, use a cotton bud or something just to get into these little grooves in there, but I'm not gonna, I don't think that's totally necessary. And we'll just put a bit on there as well. In fact, what you can do is use a piece of scrap copy paper actually. And just slide that in there just so that it only goes on the edges. Okay. Just do the same with the others. Okay, so that's those done on the edges. And also what I like to do is just, with a bone folder, just give it a sort of a curl just on the ends, just so that it just lifts up slightly. You'll see on there I've just sort of curled the edges, so it just helps it stand out a bit. You can use dimensionals if you want to behind there, but I just found that myself to be a bit fiddly trying to get that behind, so I just curl the edges on each of the pieces. Okay, let's put our ink away. Right, so now we can start to put these together. And so you'll find that they all fit inside each other. So we'll start off with the smallest first. You just slide it in the top there. It's a little bit fiddly. You just have to watch you're not catching any parts so that they then rip off. And you just push it down. And if you turn it over, you'll find that, it's a bit hard to see actually, but you'll find that the edges are actually, each of them are the same. So you can line it up like that, and then you'll know that they're in the correct place then. And then when you turn it over, you'll see that there. So once you've got it lined up where you're happy, hold it tight with your thumb and just use a tiny bit of glue just to hold it in place, and then just squeeze together so your two pieces then stick together like that. And then these pieces then go in the next size up. So push that into there, line up the bottom edges with each other. Yep, so you'll see that's totally lined up. Hold it in place with your thumb and then just put a dab of glue so it holds it in place. And you'll see now that our flower is starting to come together. And then this will then go inside the final larger piece. Again, turn it over so that we can line up the bottom edges so that they're totally in line with each other. And again, hold with your thumb and just pop a dab of glue just to hold that in place. And then there you have it, and you can just tease the edges if you like, just to bring some of the petals forward. Just tease them with your nail. You're just going careful just to check you don't obviously rip your paper. There we go, and then the final piece is our little centre that we did in there, and you just slot that where you want it to go. So I think that looks good there. So just slightly, oh, that's gone straight in. Let's get my tweezers, pull that out again. I think what we'll do actually, we'll just pop a bit of glue there first. There you go. And slide that in. It's a bit fiddly because it is small. There we go. And there we go, that's our peony made. So we'll leave that to one side for now to dry. And then what we'll do is we'll get our vellum doily, Get our scrap paper again, and I'm not going to colour this in with the Stampin' Blend this time because we've already got the petal pink flower. So I am going to cover it all though in Wink of Stella because I think it's quite nice to have that subtle glitter. So you're not going to be able to see this very well on camera, but we'll literally just go over it, all over the doily. You don't need to concentrate too much in the centre because obviously it's going to be covered with the flower, so we don't want to use the Wink of Stella unnecessarily. And just hold it up so we can, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I don't think you'll, oh, you can just, I think, see it slightly just up the top there, it's shining there. So yeah, just cover sort of around the edges with Wink of Stella. So we'll put that to one side now just to dry. So now what we're going to do is cut out our frame, which is this here, and we'll be using the Stitch So Sweetly dies. So we'll only need the one die, which I believe I've used the second size down. No, I must have used the third size down. So we use the third size. Bring it out, shut it in. And so we've got our piece of Whisper White, which just to remind you is 4 inches by 5 5/8, and we want to line up our stitch die as centre as we can. But in fact what I did on my other one is if you notice, I've done it so it's slightly off centre, so there was a bigger space at the bottom, because originally I was actually going to put the sentiment down the bottom. So it actually, I think it looks fine having the bigger bottom. I would just make sure that it's sort of equal either side. So just line that up. Let's just move that off slightly just so I can check it's straight. Hopefully that didn't move. There we go, so there we have our frame, and keep the centerpiece because we're going to use that for inside our card. So let's pop this away. We won't, actually, yeah, we are going to need, oh no, we'll put this away because I like to do my sentiment first and then die cut it out, so we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so with our frame, I'll get our scrap of copy paper again, and we're going to stamp the flowers around the edge, and for this one I'm going to use grey granite, so it'd be nice to have just a subtle grey. And the stamp we're going to be using is this small stamp here from the Prized Peony. And we're just going to randomly stamp around our frame. So I have one there. And we'll put one here. I like to just make sure though that the stamp is the right way up. And then we'll put one up the top. And just one there. Go. And we may even colour in some of the petals in the petal pink stamping blend, but I'm going to put it together first before we do that because it might not need it. And while we've got the stamp out, our centrepiece that came out of the middle, this will be going inside the card. So we'll also just stamp the flower in the corner. Back onto my copy paper. There we go. And for this one, as it's going inside, I think I will just colour it in a bit with the petal pink stamp blend, and we'll just go over the shading that's already on the flower, on the stamp. So we're keeping some of it white, like we've done on some of the previous flowers and on the DSP on the other videos. Okay, so it's just very subtle. So we'll put that to one side. Then we shall do our sentiment. And on this one I did Love and Thanks to a Dear Friend, which is from the Prized Peony. But on this one I'm just going to have Thank You, which I've used from Peaceful Moments. Just going to use a simple thank you. So we shall use black ink for our sentiment. Let's get our card out of the way there. There we go. Didn't want to do it in the middle. I knew this piece of scrap was obviously larger than I needed, so I've put it to the side. So what I'm going to do is use the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Use this set all the time. It's actually my favourite. And should be able to use the second one from the middle. Yeah, that fits round there nicely. So we'll get that cut out. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, so now we're ready to put everything together. So we've got our card front there. So first of all we want to stick our frame on, just checking you've got it round the right way. And just check that that lines up equally all round. And I think we'll just have a quick look now and see if it does need, if we need to colour in these edged flowers. I think we don't need to. It's one of those, you can if you want to, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that looks nice, just keeping it as it is. So yeah, I think we'll keep that as is. So the doily, we don't need to stick that down separately, because what we'll do is we'll put some dimensionals on the back of our peony, and then that will actually hold the doily in place. So we want to make sure that we've got enough dimensionals so that it doesn't droop anywhere or flatten. And then we'll pop one in the middle as well. And then I find the easiest way is to just hold your card up, line up your doily in the position that you want it, and then a bit fiddly here, that's it, then grab your flower and just line it up. And then press firmly just so you know that that's properly stuck down. There we go. And I think we'll just put a bit of Winker's Stella on the centre part there. There you go, can you see that? Slightly, I think. And then we'll put our sentiment on, which will sit nicely there. And we're also going to use dimensionals for that. There, and then finish it off with some bling, and I'm using the Elegant Faceted Gems. That's got quite a nice sort of champagne-y petal pink colour. And we'll put one of the bigger ones, oops, around and use the flatter end. There we go, and I'll put that one in the corner up there. And then I think we need another one just up there. Oh, doesn't want to come off. There you go. There you go, and then you just need to put a panel in the centre. And that's our card finished. I do love this suite. It's so pretty. So that's that one. That was our other one we made in this style. And then, as promised, I'm going to show you the other cards that I've now made for this collection. So these were the first two cards that you may have seen on the first video. The second video was these two cards, which open up like that. Then obviously we've got these two, and then I've used, so these are pretty straightforward. They're just a whole sheet of DSP there that's, let me sort out the measurements. I'll write the measurements down below actually, and then I've just used a strip there, and then just used the oval for the shape dies. And this sentiment here is actually from Discontinued. It's a happy birthday stamp set. I think it's from the Celebration. And then we've done the same but using more of the grey. And in fact I did use the stamp set, here's the peony, Prized Peony, just to do the backgrounds there. So that was the actual peony flower on those two. Then this one I've just used two strips, and then just use a piece of Whisper White down the middle, and then use the label dies there for the sentiments. They're pretty straightforward. And then inside I've just stamped a flower. In fact, in these ones I think I've just used, I've stamped flowers in that one and that one. And then the final two is again just using the DSP. I've coloured in like I've done on the other ones. And then I've used a strip of DSP in the centre. And these dies, I used two different die sets. I used this larger circle die, which is the Tasteful Labels, and then for the larger circle I've just used this die here, the second one up, which is the Stitched Shapes dies. And it's these ovals that I used on these cards here. So there you go, that's our 12 cards ready to go in their box. So I hope you can join me for my final video where I'll be showing you the box to put all these cards in. Thank you for watching. Bye.